Hello and welcome to the best science/religion in the station. We are talking about epistemics. My name is Network Gremlin, aka Abaddon Ignatius, and today we're going to go through a beginner's guide to epistemics. We shall first, as usual, as per every single beginner's guide, let's go over the different roles. Now I want to say a big shout out to Scout, otherwise known as Divid, and also Carrot, known as Sarana. They have helped me out extremely in creating this beginner's guide, as well as a lot of tips and tricks for my advanced guide to epistemics. I'm going to instead start at the reverse and start at the top and work my way to the bottom. So, your mystagogue is your head of department. They run everything. There's only one mystagogue. They have psionic abilities as well as the ability to detect nearby psionics. Psionics are special powers that some people can possess. They can range in what they can do. Some psionic powers allow telepathy. Some allow mind swapping, which is where you change the minds of different characters. And mystagogue generally just runs how this, it's a department head. It's like everything. What is missing here in this list is there is a cataloger role. It's more of a role-playing role. The cataloger spawns in like Dungeons and Dragon dices and is kind of like an acolyte, but just designed for D&D and role playing essentially. The same is kind of true for chaplain. Chaplain is a role playing role that has unique purposes. So your role as cataloger, let me just add, is to catalog things, and they usually, your cataloger will work in working anomalies. But in any case, as I was saying, your chaplain has some important purposes because they are able to sacrifice psionics, and that will reduce the amount of glimmer that is being created. I'll go over glimmer later on in the video. But they can also transfer people from a body to a golem. There are 3 different types or levels of golem. Each is better than the one aforementioned one. And also they can do a little bit of spells. They can kind of do a little bit of rituals. It's also a role-playing role, the chaplain role. You're kind of, you're like a fanatic. You need to like convert the entire station. And it's important to remember as a chaplain that you should be doing that. Again, every one of these will have a in-depth guide coming soon. Forensic Mantis, he's a unique one because he's got a foot in security as well as epistemics. His main role is to help with anomaly finding anomalies, as well as he is useful in other ways in the fact that he can also help with investigations. So he's got access to a fingerprint scanner, for example, and so he kind of solves crimes a little bit. You can kind of role play as like this noir detective, who murdered John Doe or who murdered the captain. But it's important to remember that you aren't a security role. You're more an epi role than you are. The mantis also has a blade that can hurt, that hurts psionics, and it doesn't hurt people who aren't psionic. So he's kind of designed for like anti-psionic, but at the same time he's also security, but he's majority epi. A guide will come out about that later. And then acolytes, acolytes, they do everything really. They're kind of the general purpose infantry. They the most common thing that they'll do is run Oracle, and I'll show you what Oracle looks like. I'm going to close this list for now. I don't think there was anything that I missed there. But in any case, excuse the out of power stuff. So, and please excuse the flashlight. I got it from security because it was dark. This is the Oracle. this oracle will be in different places. Oh, perfect. Look at this. Bring me 1 chili if you ever wish to receive even 1 drop of my grace. Now, I'll go over oracle soon, but just take note of that, okay? Remember that. Just remember that the oracle requests items. Other things that the acolytes do is they also work on artifacts. So what will happen is that someone will bring in an artifact, and then it'll probably be salvage, to be honest with you, salvage find artifacts. Or you'll find an artifact somewhere, and then you bring it in here and you place it on that little scanner there, and you scan it. And so say there's an artifact there, then I'm just going to go up and I'm going to click scan, and then it's going to give you this this analysis console. Now, as you can see, there are different edges and all these different values. What you need to know is it activated? If it is activated, then it's good. Then you need to rescan it. Is it what is its stimulus? Oh, its stimulus is radiation. Well, I need to do something radiation-wise to it. I can't think of anything actually right now that's radiation, but I will go in depth on doing artifacts in a short video that'll come out. But all you need to know is that just ask someone in Epi, how does this work? If it says that the stimulus requires extreme heat, then you can just borrow a welder from engineering, and you can just turn on the welder and then like hit it once, and that usually does it, right? And then what it'll do is it'll increase the depth, which will then increase the current value, right? And there's like a whole lot of nuances when it comes to artifacts, etc., etc. But that's just the basics of artifacts. I just want to also mention that, as I mentioned previously, this here is a golem, as I've mentioned before. So the chaplain would insert a soul into the golem, and would also define who their master is. But I think within Nionotracen, I'm fairly sure that you have to, as the chaplain, set the golem's master to the station, the station or Niotracen, just to avoid kind of weird, behavior, whatever. In any case, so as the acolyte, you're going to be running oracle, you're going to be running artifacts, and you're also going to be doing anomalies. Now, I started off in the anomaly room, and this is it. Not all will have a separate kind of anomaly like room, but all stations will have 2 apes, a anomaly vessel, a anomaly generator, as well as anomaly scanners. Now, how do I, what's up with anomalies? Well, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to unanchor the ape, right? It's going to be anchored. Once you unanchor it, you're going to also want to get an anomaly scanner. Now, within epistemology, there really isn't, and I just want to touch on this briefly, because usually I've got a control section of the guide where I'll go over like the interesting things that someone spawns with, that a role spawns with. With epistemics, it's really not that special. You'll spawn with your backpack. You won't spawn with this flashlight, and then you'll also want to go to the lockers and get yourself an anomaly scanner. You need the anomaly scanner and a wrench and a crowbar, but more importantly a wrench, so that, I'm so sorry, Carlo. When you need to get this, when you need to go and take down an anomaly, that you can unwrench the ape and you can drag it, and then that's what you're going to do. You're going to drag it to, let's just say the anomaly's over there. Let's just say there. So then you're going to drag it, and then you're going to anchor it, right? And then depending on the different anomaly, it's going to do different things, right? Once it's anchored, what you can do is you can select the type of particle that it's going to shoot. Let's just say epsilon. Once you've scanned an anomaly, you can go up to it, you can scan it, and it'll tell you what particle is required to either stabilize it, make it grow, or make it shrink. There's different wording. So the official terms for that would be decaying, stabilized, and growing, right? So when something is decaying, it's going to be shrinking down, its severity is going to be decreasing. When it's growing, its severity is going to be increasing, and when it's stabilized, its severity is going to stay the same. Now, all anomalies will pulse. And what is a pulse? Well, a pulse is essentially when the anomaly releases energy every 2 minutes. And this can be more or less hazardous depending on the type of anomaly. So when it comes to, for example, the easiest anomaly, that will be a fire anomaly. The fire anomaly, when it pulses, it will set everyone in an area in its line of sight on fire. Now, and because it's one of the easiest anomalies, what you can do is you can put glass around it, and then when it pulses, it won't set everyone around it on fire. The glass kind of acts as like an inhibitor. Now, not all anomalies have the availability to do that. In fact, some, like the lightning anomaly, can't be contained. Every pulse, they'll send out a flash of lightning, and if it's in a bad position, it's unfortunate because you're gonna have to kill it. When I say kill it, I mean you're gonna want to shrink it down, and then it's gonna you're gonna shrink it down to the point where it disappears. Another important thing to notice, however, is that the question of like, why do we need anomalies? Well, once you've stabilized an anomaly and it's in a good position and it is not in front of everyone, like it's not in a really horrible position where it messes with people, so like not in the cloning room, then what you can do is you can link it to an anomaly vessel, and what will happen is the anomaly will make research points, which is wonderful. I'll go into research now, but just to know that it is very beneficial to have high level anomalies working, because it increases your point gain, right? So once you stabilize something and it's out of the way, you link it with your anomaly vessel. Let's just say you don't have an anomaly though. Often what will happen is that your mister will say, okay, acolytes, let's run an anomaly or something. And then you can come to this anomaly generator. It takes plasma and you can generate an anomaly. And then what that'll do is it will create an anomaly somewhere within the station. In the maintenance tunnels here, they're so irritating, right? And if you don't catch it in time, it explodes, because once it gets to 100% severity, it'll explode. So just take note of that, okay? So as I've described, within all your different roles, each person will be more activated to what is that? Someone else. Each role will be more tuned to some other duty, but your duty as an acolyte will most likely be running Oracle, which is, and I was supposed to explain a little bit further. That duty is, you go up to the Oracle and it tells you what it needs, and you simply guard and you get it and you bring it back. Now, as you could see a while earlier, it said what the hell? It shouted out loud what it needed, right? And so when it does that, then you take note, okay, it needs a pipe or something, or a lime. So like one of the times it asked for a lime. And so then you go to botany and you ask, hey, can I please get a lime for Oracle? And then you wait till I get it, or something. Now the Oracle can hold a maximum of 2 requests. So you only really need, there we are. You only really need 2 oracles, competent oracles running Oracle. You can see it needs a coterie. Now the question is, why do you run Oracle? Why do I want to stabilize anomalies? Why do I want to sacrifice artifacts? Well, I'm so glad that you asked that. You just ask them in. I like it, I like it. I think this is our chaplain. Nope, it's an assistant. Great-eyed. Wonderful. As you can see here, you have your R&D console. And as you can see here, you've got your research points, you've got your points per second, and you've got your passive points limit. Josh, what does that mean? What does that... I just doxed myself, but if you didn't know, my name was Josh. Or, if it suits your boat, Netrogremlin, or what does that mean? Abaddon, what does that mean? Josh, what does that mean? So, you have your glimmer probe here. Currently, it is unanchored and unpowered. What this thing does is it creates glimmer, but it also creates points. Now, each glimmer creates 20 points a second, as far as I remember correctly. It also, each glimmer probe increases your passive points limit by 7,500. Now that's important to remember because some technologies, like for example, this one, it requires 500 research points, right? Now we obviously have 10,000 because these are all things that we've already unlocked, as you can see. But something costs more, like 15,000. We've only got 10,000. So simple things like there should be a basic here, anomaly technology, 10,000. Basic power cells, 2,500. So this is where your R&D goes. Now, usually your Mister is going to be doing the researching because they're gonna have the discs, and I'll talk about discs now. But allow your Mister will get told what people kind of want them to research. Generally, it's going to be something like engineering are going to want like the Ripley's, or a lot of people want blue space. Teleportation technology as well. Super parts is just every single game you're going to pretty much get it. And all of these are so expensive. Like Ripley, for example, is 30,000. 30,000. So it's like, how do I get to that level? Well, you have to bypass the passive points limit. Now, there are multiple ways to do this. There are actually two, I think. The first way is via discs, and the second way is by more probes. Oh no, there are three, and the third way is by more anomalies. There's a fourth, actually. So, firstly, if you add another probe, it's going to add 7,500 to it, right? So your passive point limit can double if you add another probe, but your glimmer is going to increase as well. So it's kind of like a, it's just unfortunate because your glimmer goes up so quick, right? Next, what you can do is when you're running Anomaly, you're going to get yourself a research disk. Now, this is different to a technology disk. A research disk has points saved on it. When you get, let's just say, a 5,000 research disk level, what you do then is you take that disk and you put it in, this is now not you, the Mister, you put it in the R&D server. Now, I need to note this. If your R&D server is unpowered or not anchored, you're going to lose the points. So don't put it in. Let the Mister put in the discs because they're going to know how many points they need to unlock something certain. If I need, let me find something that's 15,000. Okay, sure, why not this? If I need this, if I need surveillance technology, I need 12,500. Now, if some idiot acolyte, and maybe they're not idiots, maybe they're new, so not all acolytes, but if some narcissistic acolyte thinks that they are responsible for the entirety of the department, if they go up and it's and the current amount of points is at like 2,000, and then they put in a 5,000 disc, wonderful, you have fucked us over. Do you know why? Is because now you've hit the passive point limit of 7,500 and you still have 5,000 more research to go. So what you should have done, and you can see just research there, the passive points went down. What you should have done is you should have waited till it got to 7,500 and then inputted the disk, which then went past the passive points limit. And what you should have done more than that is given it to the Mister. But in any case, another thing is you get blue space crystals. Oh, that's not good. You get blue space crystals. What they do is they're used for multiple things. One of them is glimmer probe creation, so that's also quite important. And yeah, so that's essentially the job of epistemology, is to research and get new technologies for the rest of the station. So the more competent your team is, the better it goes. The more your acolytes run Oracle, the more that you get your glimmer probe up, etc., the better. But as an acolyte, as a new player to Epistemics, what you really need to be doing is running Oracle and just kind of following the leader. Okay, start with Oracle, work your way to working on artifacts, and then work on anomalies, because anomalies can be a little bit dangerous and a little bit volatile. One thing to note is that when it comes to reducing glimmer, the easiest way to kind of do it, there are multiple different ways. It's a little bit more complicated. That this will all be gone over in the advanced Epistemics guide, but all you need to know is that when your glimmer probes are off, you're not creating glimmer. But keep note that psionics, when they use abilities, they create glimmer, as well as anomalies create glimmer. And so it's just all around not hugely fun. So just keep note of that. The Mr. Gog will probably tell you what to do when the glimmer gets high. But all you need to know how to do is to start getting those research discs and get them in there. Yeah, and then you'll also notice, and I'll put a little thing up on it now. As I mentioned before, there's a technology disc station. That is not the same as a research disc, okay? So what happens is you spend 2,500 points, and in return, what you get is a technology disc. Now, if you put that in your R&D, you get a randomly chosen, and this includes things that can't be researched. So you don't touch technology discs until the end of the game. When you get to the end game or end of the shift, or closer to, once you've researched everything important, then you start doing research discs or something similar. It's really an end game thing, so that's why I say don't touch it. All you gotta do is just worry about the Oracle. In any case, thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped out for you. Please subscribe so you can get notified when I released a advanced guide. Again, I would like to send a big thank you out to Scout aka David and Carrot aka Sarana. And yeah, please send love towards them for the contribution towards the guide. So if you want to see those tips and you want to see what nice little interesting bits of information they gave me, please subscribe, and if I see some love for it, then I will release it. Obviously I'll release it anyways, but I'll get it out sooner the more love there is. I don't know. Have a good day, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next guide on Space Station 14.